Welcome to Mrs. Peach Thrifty Living. I'm so happy you're here today, and I'm back with episode 12 of A Glimpse in My Life. Before I get started, I just want to thank you for watching these episodes. This has been really nice for me because it really makes me remember what we've done in the length of time and where we've been, and I've really enjoyed it. I hope my kids will enjoy it, and maybe someday my grandchildren will. I'm glad you're here too. Like and subscribe, keep coming back, and here we go. This time, my hubby was sent to Jacksonville, Florida. And so here we go again. We're packing up, moving. Remember, we didn't ever have a lot of furniture. My husband was in the air part of the Navy. I know there's a word for it, but I cannot remember it at the time. So we get there and find an apartment, and we get settled into our apartment. The first thing, and we got settled close by where the base was. The first thing I remember about living there is it was in the summer, and it rained every day. Now, those of you that live in Florida, you may relate to this, and maybe other parts of the country, but this was something new to me, to see it rain every day, but not just that it rained, and it didn't last a long time. It was a downpour, and then you would look outside and you didn't see a mud puddle in sight. There was no water or no puddles around, so that just really surprised me. Another thing I remember about living in those apartments is we didn't have a washer and a dryer, and you had to go to the laundromat. And we got one of those washers that was portable. You roll it up to your kitchen sink, hook it to the water supply, and do your laundry that way. It was small loads. You would wash your laundry, then you would take it and put it in the little spinner, the next side, and put the spinner and spin it out. Then you would put them back in to the first tank, and you would rinse your clothes and then spin them again. And they spin them dry, very much dry. I don't remember what we did. We might have had to take them to the laundry to dry them, but it was quite a savings at that time. Sure whether that was okay with apartments, because you were using a bit more water than you would if you didn't do your laundry. Remember about dishwashers, I don't think we had one at that time. Remember, this was in the 70s. I may not be telling you in the right order of how things went, because it is hard to remember so many things, and especially this length of time. After so many months or whatever of living in the apartment, we decided to buy a home. We was stationed there for a longer period of time. I want to say it was about 4 years. So we started shopping for a home and found one across the highway from where the Navy base was, and we bought it was our second home in our lives. It was for $22,000. It was a 3-bedroom, 1 bath. It had a carport, and it had a little washroom off the carport that you go out and go into the little washroom, and that worked fine. It was pretty nice. I mean, it wasn't fancy, but we was very happy. Of course, then we needed to get some furniture, so we bought a few pieces of furniture. I'm pretty sure that's where we bought our bedroom set that I still have to this day. It's been a good one. We got it at a discount place, and it was real wood, and it's held up very well. I got a job at a Christian school, I think being a teacher's aide. I'm not sure of what I did. And it was a little drive to go there, but with me getting the job there, my children could go to school there, and it was a kind of a, I don't know, there's a backup of the cubicles that you could teach your that you could learn on your own, and you had a teacher that helped you a little bit. And I did that for about a semester, and I liked it. I remember loving the people there, and but it was a quite a drive from our home, so we decided not to continue to do that. We did go to church there till eventually we became pastors of another church. The pastor was Leon Ellis. They were very known for their musical. They was wonderful piano players and singers, and he was kin to Vep Ellis, who wrote "Let Me Touch Him." And if you have been a part of the church for any time, you would recognize that "Let me touch him, let me touch Jesus." It was a great song. And then Leon Ellis, his cousin, who pastored the church, they also was great musicians in their own right. And he wrote the song, and he wrote many songs. "Win the Lost at Any Cost." That was pretty popular at one time. But eventually I didn't work there any longer, and I started selling Avon in my area again. If you recall, when I lived in North Dakota and in California, I had sold Avon before. So I got another Avon job in my neighborhood. So I was close to home, and I always enjoyed selling Avon. It's one that you didn't really have to work hard at selling. Avon basically sold itself. Either you liked it or you didn't. You got a book. You got samples. We gave out samples. We carried them, all those little lipstick samples that you had, and the little perfume samples. So it was nice, and got to know lots of people that way. And I remember about being there, and this was a big memory to all of our whole family, was we went on a trip to my brother-in-law and sister-in-law's, my husband's brother and his family. They were up in the Washington, D.C. area, and they took us to Washington, D.C., to the Whitehouse. And it just so happened the day we went, we got to go inside the Whitehouse and tour it. That was one of our most memorable. The kids always remember that. And we had it was wonderful to get to go in there. Just a great memory. We also went to the Smithsonian and got to just go in one of the, I guess they had several. And this I did not remember. My son remembered this, and he said we got to go in one of those. Okay. While we were there in Jacksonville, Florida, my sister and her husband, Barbara and Selvin, came to visit us with their 3 children, 3 boys, and they came in their overhead camper. You know, the pickup and the overhead camper. They had driven it from California, stopped in Texas to visit my other sister that still lives in Texas, and then on to see us. And we had a great visit while they were there. Some of the things that that happened is we took them to Disney World, and that is where my daughter got lost. And you can go back and watch my video that I talked about her getting lost at Disney World. We had a wonderful time there, and also at that time we took them to the beach, and my sister Barbara remembers getting sunburned so bad on her feet. And at that same time, I think my son Gordon got a bad sunburn here, and it was really horrible. It was one of the worst ever. And he's so fair-skinned, you know, he had the red hair when he was growing up. Flowers grew beautiful there. I planted seeds in a little flower box we had in the front, and they just bloomed so beautifully. That was the only place I ever remember that I had nice flowers. I wish I could do that. I mean, I planted seeds since then, and I have not had very good luck. I do something wrong. I guess I either drown them or do something after the fact. Also, while living in Florida, it'd been a long time since I'd seen my parents, and I was getting homesick. So I wanted to go to California and see my family so bad. So I checked different prices on different ways to get there, and I come up with the great idea of taking the Greyhound bus to California, and round trip at that. I'll tell you, that was a long trip. It was about, I guess, about 3 days and nights. But the one interesting thing is we got on the bus in Jacksonville, Florida, and we rode that very same bus to Los Angeles, California. It came on Highway 10, I don't know, Interstate 10. It's the one south, way south of the United States. And it's almost a straight across shot. And so then we got on another bus and came up to Northern California, where I'm from, another 500 miles thereabouts, up this way. My daughter still remembers that as the worst trip of her life. I don't remember it as being that bad. I don't know, I just adjusted to it, and you take a few things to look at it and read, and you nap, and they stop every so often, you get off and take a little walk or whatever, and we made it fine. But neither one of my kids, she said, I think you gave me PSTD for riding a bus. I haven't been on any bus trips since then either, I don't think. And it's when we got home from that trip, my hubby, he's always been handy dandy for doing work. I mean, he worked on cars or whatever was the necessary thing to do. He decided to refinish our hardwood floors in the bedroom area, not the living room. I think it was a carpet, and I think it might have been a cement floor. It was kind of a step up to the bedrooms. He refinished those bedrooms with such a shine on them. That was just beautiful. He seemed to like to do that kind of thing, and he did a beautiful job of it. We did spend, like I said, 4 years being there, and I'm kind of looking at my notes now. These are some of the things that my daughter remembers that I have not mentioned so far. She remembers that she went to a school, an elementary school, part of the fourth and all of the fifth grade, and it was a school then they sent her to a school in the hood, as she called it. That school was, she said, and I didn't remember this, but she said it, and she found out later, I guess. The school was built on a dump, and eventually the school was shut down, and because everybody was getting lead poisoning. Thing I do remember is on this, either a trip going up to our families or our next move that I will be telling you about in the next video. Before there was GPS, we was driving through West Virginia very late at night, and the paper map did not match the road signs, and we were so lost. Eventually we did find our way out of that dark, mountainous, curvy roads. That was always a memory that really stood out to us. My husband did drive pretty fast a lot of times. He was a good driver, and I will say I don't remember hardly any accidents, and we crisscrossed the country lots of times. But he did like to drive a little faster than the speed limit. Well, he got caught in one of those speed traps. And this was in a little town, and they hauled him. They had us follow them back to town, and he went before the judge. It's almost like those that you see in movies sometimes. They take you in and in the back of a hardware store. I don't remember this part, whether it was, but it was some kind of, they took us somewhere. It could have been a makeshift courthouse. But anyway, you had to pay that ticket before you even left the place. Thankfully, somehow we had enough money to pay that ticket. So we made it out of there. I think that might have been one way they helped support their own town, is being there. I asked Gordon also about his memories, and he told me a couple, and I've mentioned a couple already. He did say he remembered there was so many fire ants there in Florida. And also, he remembers, of course, the Whitehouse visit. That was a big deal. And then also, he remembers, I always taught Sunday school just about everywhere I went. I always enjoyed it, and I did for many years, taught Sunday school. And at this point, one of the places there, I taught, and it was about the Passover, and I did the best I could to come up with the authentic Passover feast, and he still remembers that. He also flew a kite with the fishing pole. And he remembers one other thing. At his school, the teachers carried paddles, and if you did something wrong, you got paddled then and there. Of course, remember, this was in the 70s. God bless you so much. I really appreciate you guys watching. I really pray God blesses you today. You know, all along the way, you know, we've lived our life doing what we could to do right, and tried to, and we wanted to serve Jesus. And that was our main goal in life. And I pray that I'm still doing that, encouraging you today to just talk to Jesus today. If you don't know him, ask Jesus to come in your heart. He loves you. And I love you too. God bless you. Come back again. Like and share. See you down the road.